Okay, I'm going to record a video. I'm not even sure where I'm going with this, but I'm just really upset. And I feel like I need to get some things off my chest. And I've called all my friends and family until they don't want to hear from me anymore. And so I'm just going to record this, and I don't know if I'm going to put it up or not. I really don't. I made a list of things that I'm really upset about. Number one would be the police explanations for her drowning, which just weren't right at all. A, that she fell off the footbridge. B, that she walked to the river after huffing and then fell in. I've done some exploration on huffing stuff, and how far could you walk after you breathe that material, and it's not very far. It's like 5 feet. I went out to the site last night and measured it. It's 50 yards, so that would be 150 feet. There was also a large tree that was fallen that she would have had to step over. None of that makes any sense. Bear in mind that there was a can of duster by her personal belongings on the footbridge where she had been seated. There was no can found by the river. So she would have had to breathe that stuff at the footbridge and then walked 50 yards or 150 feet and stepped over a giant fallen tree. There's just no way that she would have done that. I did talk to the investigator a little bit about the huffing material, and he basically told me that he really didn't know what it did. And I just thought to myself at that time, well, why don't you look it up? Why don't you know about it? He told me about someone that he had been following that had been stealing it from Walmart, and they had him on surveillance. And he said that he would steal like 2 cans, and by the time he got out the front door, he had inhaled an entire can of the huffing material, and then was on his second can, and then he would just like fall over right in the parking lot. So that tells me that, if she had 1 can and it was like full, there's no way, just by breathing a little bit of that she would have been able to make it. That she would have even, it just doesn't make any sense. If she had 2 cans of it and she breathed the whole thing at the footbridge, then she would have never been able to make it to the river. So none of that stands up to any reason at all. The failure to get the Walmart video, which completely pisses me off. I have repeated requests to the county attorney, and the answer was no. There wasn't enough evidence that it was from Walmart, the can. Someone told me they could have just scanned the can and then identified if it was from Walmart or another store, or what was the story of the can. But the investigator didn't do that because they were too stupid to do that. It took somebody from my cancer website to suggest that. They were ordered by the state medical examiner to get the video on August 12th, and they didn't do it. They had 2 weeks to do it, and they didn't do it. The coroner had to put undetermined as the manner of death on her death certificate because they never got the report back from the police department for watching the Walmart video. Their failure to interrogate the person that had abused her 5 days prior to her death. Coroner's office told me that was very key in their determining what was her manner of death. That was never forthcoming. There's still no mention of whether they have found that person and interrogated him at all. Of course, I don't have the Walmart video to see if she was with him because they never got it. Her car keys. Where are her car keys? She went there. She locked the car up. Car was locked tight. She had two black plastic lined keys with the embedded chips on a single ring. Those keys were never recovered at all from anywhere. Sorry. The coroner pulled up the photos of the autopsy as soon as they unzipped the body bag. He had the photographs. He was looking at the photographs when he was talking to me on the phone, looking for pockets in her shorts, and he couldn't tell me if she had pockets in them or not. His personal opinion was that if she did have pockets and she had the keys in her pockets, he said he had swam many times and he had never had keys fallen out of his pockets. So he didn't really buy that as far as even if she did have them in her pockets. Did they fall out? Probably not. But he couldn't even tell me if she had keys in the pockets. He told me that her shorts were given back to the funeral home. So then I called the funeral home and they threw all of her clothes away. So I will never know even the slight chance that she had pockets in her shorts and that's where her keys were and that they fell out in the river because the funeral home threw them away. At this time, I just want to get the police investigation records. How do you do that, you say? It's not an easy feat, believe me. It's very difficult. You can't just call them up and say, hey, I'd like the reports on this death investigation. Could I get them? No, you can't. You have to have a subpoena. And in order to have a subpoena, you have to have an open case. I don't have an open case. I don't have a lawsuit going. I don't have anything. So I can't just call them and say I want her death investigation records. I would also like the coroner's records. It shows where they had asked the police department to watch the video and all their notations of all the times that I called. They noted all that. I would like all those records too. Can't get those either without a subpoena, which involves a case, which involves getting an attorney to take your case. If I have a case at all, I really don't know. I went down there last night and pounded a cross that I had decorated into the ground, and I took pictures of it. It just had her name on the front and said, we will hold on to our love for you. And on the back side it had Mom, Adea, Brandon, and then the phrase that said, we will fight for the truth. We pounded it into the ground. I had help from the neighbor that had called in her car initially. He brought a piece of flat wood and a hammer and drove it into the ground. I took a picture of the fallen tree that was probably about 20 yards from the river's bank, and then another 30 yards back to where she had been seated. I'm telling you, none of it makes any sense, and I guess I just need somebody to tell me to quit. Stop investigating. Let it go. Realize that your daughter's dead. You will never know the truth, what happened. But with all these loopholes, it's very, very hard to take. I'm sorry. I cry every day. Every single day. If I see one thing, just one tiny thing, I just start crying. Okay, I'm sorry. I'll just sign off here. I just wanted to say some things, and it might make me feel better. I think it does. So I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. what I always say. Goodbye.